Okay, I am live. And let's see. No, Bigfoot didn't eat me, Amon Chris. So, anyway, good to see everybody. I was getting Cornell a link, Cornell from the No Such Thing podcast. I'll be bringing him right on. Yeah, Mel. I actually take that as a compliment. Dave's too skinny to be like ordering hot wings. Oh, shoot. That's good stuff. Okay, I'm going to bring Cornell on here.
Yay! I got a mess up. I got a mess up there. I'll tell you what happened. I was watching my I don't want to break your stride if you're in the middle of a subject or not there.
No, I was actually talking about getting you a link and bringing you on.
Well, so my daughter watches this guy called Jordan Matter out of LA, right? And he's a photographer, and his daughter's a gymnast, and she's like 11 or something. So I'm like, oh, I wonder, I wouldn't have my daughter out there like that. So I'm like, I'll look through the YouTube comments to see if there's any weirdos in there. Not really, but then I realized she has an Instagram page, and apparently that's a haven for weirdos. So I go onto her Instagram page, and I see all these comments from guys our age, saying, "Oh my God, you're so beautiful." And then I click on their profile and watch who they're following, and it's all like female models, half naked and stuff. So I'm like, I gotta do a video on this, because if parents out there don't know about this and their kids having Instagram pages, they got to be aware of this. I'm kind of passionate about this stuff. So I was doing a video on that real quick, but I'll do it tomorrow night. That's fine.
Okay. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, the internet, man. It's like a city street. You got to watch where you turn down, especially kids. Yeah, we got there's Blue Eyed Northern. That's one of our moderators. Let's see who all we got here. We got Brent from the Tall Ones. Hey, Brent.
Oh yeah, Brent. Hey, man.
How's things up in your part of the world? Cornell and I were talking the other night. It's Cornell kind of took a little break from the Bigfoot stuff for a while, and he's back on and in the saddle, it looks like. So I mentioned to him the other night we ought to do a new episode of Into the Void sometime like we did. Seemed like folks enjoyed that.
Yeah, I missed it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Cornell, the other day I was talking to somebody and they said, well, let's see, it was on one of the shows I did the other night. I can't remember if this was live or backstage. He said, how did you get hooked up with Cornell? You guys are such different personalities.
Not really.
I said, yeah, we get along. I said, just from different sides of the planet. But no, I said, well, that the first podcast I was on when I started this YouTube channel, I got an invitation from Cornell. Didn't know him from Adam, wanting me to come on his podcast. So that was the actual first interview I'd ever did when I started my YouTube channel was with Cornell. I think the first one was audio only, wasn't it?
It was. I had saw you on Reddit. Some of these mics, I haven't really set them up yet. I've got a mixer. Do I sound okay?
Oh, yeah.
I saw someone posted one of your videos on Reddit, and you're just standing there in the middle of the woods telling a story, and I'm like, this is what we need. Just somebody not BSing, not putting anybody else down, just telling the story as he heard it, and not coming up with wild conclusions if it was true or not. So I'm like, wow, I got to get him on the show. That's the kind of guy I want on my show. So then, was it Mark? Did I get to know Mark through you? I think so.
I'm not sure, but long story short, it was all of that. Me, you, and Mark was kind of intertwined there for a little bit.
Yeah.
And it, kind of a blur, but you and I, me and Cornell, we got to talking, and I think the first time we were supposed to both get together and meet down there by a Livewire's place and look into things. And Mark had a family deal come up, so it ended up being me and Cornell going to the Kiamichi Mountains and making a trip out of it then. So the rest is ill-begotten history, I guess.
Well,
You know?
half of me was kind of relieved that Mark wasn't going to do it, because from what I'd heard about his property, I'd be like sleeping in his camper in the middle of, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be in his camper, and these things are running around. They're going to slap the side of the camper, and I'm going to have a heart attack.
Well, yeah, I think most of the folks I'm seeing in the chat room here, and again, I always try to do this at the start of one, is to give a big shout out and thank you to our moderators, because they help keep the trolls and the bots at bay, so the rest of us can have a good visit. And that's Cashew Gesundheit and Blue Eyed Northern. I really appreciate the work you guys do, and not just on this channel, but a lot of channels apparently. So I really appreciate the moderators.
And Vladimir is a newcomer too. Vladimir came to me through one of the Predator channels.
I thought he was visit. Oh, okay, spelled different. So it's not our arch enemy over in Russia, Vladimir Putin. Different spelling there. Eugene. Vladimir Putin, is that right?
Yeah, he must be Canadian.
Like
Canadian Russian.
Yeah, Canadian. We got a lot of the usuals here. I'll just say hello to everybody: Eugene, Cashew, Tac One, Patty, Mel, Brent up there in Washington. Hey, Brent, by the way. I watched your video yesterday. You was on site up there in the mountains looking around. Man, that was something else. If y'all haven't seen that,
I haven't seen that yet.
To go up to, down here, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit. Sunday night, me and my son Elijah, which he's busy or he would be here. Hey, what's with this? These kids growing up and getting a life of their own. I mean, come on, right?
I can't wait.
They grow. Hey, it goes so fast. But anyway, so me and Elijah, we go out on a solo camp. We did our live show from the field Sunday night. It was very, very humid, hot, mosquitoes biting, ticks biting, chiggers. I mean, it was itchy. Elijah got the campfire built up, and the smoke kind of drove the mosquitoes away, so that brought that under control. As far as animals that night, it was, Cornell, it was strangely quiet.
Oh, really?
There were, normally when I'm down there, there's coyotes just
where was it?
Like crazy.
Is it in your normal spot?
No.
Oh.
This was not in the Kiamichi Mountains. This was not really far from my home, actually.
McCurtain?
Actually, it's no. It's not probably 15 miles from my house. So anyway, the only animals we saw the entire night, we went walking and stuff. Usually there's deer on the way down there. We saw turkey. Not even the owls were crying out. Whippoorwill did later on, but there was an armadillo that I heard it outside camp. We thought, hey, something's walking around. I went over there. You know what an armadillo is, right, Cornell?
Mm-hmm. I saw a dead one when I was down in you.
Okay. Yeah, they're thick down here. I know they're not that far north, but they're really not even native to here. They're from South America and Mexico.
They look Asian.
Do what?
They look Asian or something, like samurais. Like weird.
Oh, I always thought they looked like. Yeah, I always thought they looked like little armored dinosaurs.
Yeah,
but, there was one of those that ran off, and then right before dark, Elijah noticed a copperhead, which is a venomous snake there in camp, and it was a small one. And I got a stick and kind of shooed it out of camp. I didn't kill it, but it went away. But other than that, we did not see or hear anything all night. So, and it's in an area where there have been Bigfoot sightings in the past. In fact, Elijah let me in on an encounter. Him and his cousin my niece had back when they were like 13 down in the same area. They were riding 4-wheelers, and he had never told me about it. And he didn't call it a Bigfoot, but he said that they were riding 4-wheelers after dark. That's what they used to do. They used to go on night rides on their 4-wheelers.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
And this is a remote area, really. It's in a valley. There's no houses down there. It's, people don't just accidentally end up there. Part of that's my family's property too. And they said this kind of whitish, tall white figure walked out of the wood line and ran across this field ahead of them in the direction that they were going, and just stopped and stood there staring at them. And he said it wasn't glowing white. It just had kind of a whitish look in the headlights of the 4-wheelers. And they got out of there, and they said it just stood there like watching them until they drove on past, So,
wow.
And of course, we're there when he's talking about that. So I got to get the complete deal. I said, why didn't you guys tell us about that? And they're like, well, we, didn't think anyone would believe us, But anyway, it's a neat place. And I tell you what, you come back down here, that'd be a good place to go too. We could actually go live from that area.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
And it's a little, you can drive. It's not as long a drive to get there, but where we were at, we had to park kind of in this small field, and you had to make trips back and forth across this creek through the woods to get to it and get all our stuff down there. But,
right.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So, hey, you guys in the chat there that had seen Cornell and I's show, Into the Void, what do you think? You want us to bring that back?
Yeah, and who should our first target be?
Carrie
was our
sure.
first target. Yeah, I'm not sure either.
Yeah, we had. But here's kind of what I've got in my mind. This to everybody in the chat too. I'd like to keep it open because I've got some interviews that I want to do just on a personal level, and I'm sure that Cornell does as well. But I'd also like to not abandon our brainchild of Into the Void and have that once in a while as well.
Right.
Because it was a lot of fun. Of course, TAC 1 says, yes, Brent. Speaking of targets, Brent, he was on our show one time. That was a really good interview.
He was one of my favorite interviews. Brent is one of these people that he did a recent investigation on a person and blew the whole thing wide open on a certain Facebook page. It was masterful to watch. It was crazy.
But
I don't know if he wants to get into it or not.
Yeah, I wanted to bring up like the live stream I did from the field with my son on a Sunday night had a really good turnout out there, and that was really neat. And I see a lot of the folks here that were there as well. It really, Cornell, it was like hanging out around the campfire with a good-sized group of friends. There was no drama in the chat. Nobody was arguing about anything. It was just nothing but completely good vibes off of everything. And so unless our wonderful moderators were finding some shady people that they were getting out of there before they could be a nuisance, I didn't see anything. And Cashew has just reminded me of something over here, which she is so good at doing. She's always plugging my books and my new merchandise I've got. And, I'm a little disappointed because I had ordered for myself one of my T-shirts, a couple of my coffee mugs, and I fully intended to be wearing that. I even paid for the fast shipping, and it's still not here. So anyway, in the description, if you haven't read my books, I've got links to them and to the Bigfoot and More merchandise if you're so inclined. There's a plug for Cornell as well. Be sure to sub to Cornell at the No Such Thing podcast. He's got some neat stuff on there. Everything from parental public service announcements to hiking around the wilds of Massachusetts to some interesting interviews as well.
Yeah, I announce whatever's in my head. I'll go into the woods, or I'll just pick up a microphone and start talking about it. You know what's really, really good at the minute? John Van de Winter is working on his third book. That guy has become an author.
His third one. Yeah, John's, have you read his books?
I haven't read the second one yet, no. I read the first one. The first one was fantastic.
It was a very good story. I have not read the second one. I'd like to get John Van de Winter on the show and give him an interview.
He just wrote he's writing a kid's book at the minute about Bigfoot.
Oh,
yeah,
that's an idea. And there is actually a part in the my book, the Shampe, and you've read it, where the Bigfoot helps the little kid out of the woods.
Yeah,
I thought about turning that part into a children's book as well. Now, is John's third book the kid's book, or is he writing a third one on the adult side?
I think he's already written the kid's book. I'm not too sure.
Okay.
I'm not 100%. I haven't been keeping up with him, but because he's putting out so much content, I'm not sure exactly what's going on, because all of a sudden he became an author, and he's a very, very good one. And I haven't read his second book, so I feel like that I have to read that before I pay attention to anything else. But his first book was what do you call that guy that did the Da Vinci Code? It was as good as that. Dan.
Tom Hanks. No, Tom Hanks was the actor.
He was the actor. Dan. The same woman that married my wife and I married him and his wife. Dan.
Oh, okay.
What's his name? Can somebody bring it up? Dan.
I didn't read the book.
Oh, it was great. It was really good.
Yeah, I saw the movie. But anyway, John, from what I understand, I bought a copy of John's first book, read it. It's a very good story, and it's set in the same area of the state where my book, The Shampe, is set, right there in the Kiamichi Mountains.
Brian, thank you.
Now, okay, great. Thanks, Amon. But yeah, I thought it was a really good story. I think he's going the direction on it wasn't so much in the first book, but from what I've read in the description and some other places, his second book. Have you read it?
I haven't yet, no, because of.
Okay. Well, Cashew just gave a link to his book there.
Yeah,
and I think he's going more into the Bigfoot being the Nephilim and stuff like that in it. Of course, the first book is called Relics, and just a spoiler alert, it's basically, it has a pilot crashing in there, and then it's setting off a series of events that turned pretty bad for some people. But
because John was in the Air Force too, so he knew all about planes.
So he knew about that.
So it had biker gangs, it had like rednecks and police officers. It was really, really good.
Yeah, it was a. Hey, I gotta give a big shout out to this fella right here. This is the original Brian Gillen. He is a friend of mine, and he's a longtime guitar student at my store.
Oh wow!
And let me tell you something. This kid is, well, he's a grown up, but he's a kid to me. You want to know anything about music? He probably knows it about the artists and stuff. And he's like a super fan of Weird Al Yankovic, and he actually got to meet the guy and all.
I love Weird Al.
Yeah. Brian's a good buddy. He's actually from my hometown. So
oh wow,
we got Cashew, John Vinegar. Yeah, Cashew giving a link to John's book there if anybody wants to buy it. Let's see. I always try to write a few things down. The only downside to filming out there, or going live out in the woods, if you're not just right near a city park, is you don't want to expect the video to be perfect.
Right.
You know, it's choppy. The audio's not so good. Now, the video on my son's phone was much better than mine. He's got a very high-end Apple iPhone, and I'm thinking I should invest in one because I could tell the difference. And when the Copperhead was there in camp, I grabbed his phone, and I actually got a good shot of that little critter up on the log just posing, you know. And funny story, up to that point, Elijah was wearing hiking sandals. And I'm like, Elijah, you really need some boots on or something. He's like, I'm very observant, and he is. And then but after he saw the Copperhead and it was small, I said, if there's one baby one, there's some more around here. So, a bite of one of those bites you on the toe, it's going to make your night pretty miserable. So
expensive evening.
So luckily he wears the same size of shoe as I do. So I had actually the SWAT boots that I wore when I was with the police department, and he wore those. So
that's what I had too, wasn't it? I had my SWAT boots when I was there last time.
Oh, was it? Okay.
I had my airsoft SWAT boots.
Oh yeah, I had my real gun SWAT boots.
I know. I'm a pussy.
No, I'm kidding.
But they were from the store that sells.
Yeah, they're all from the same place. I'm just
giving
you a hard time. Yep, same thing. You're probably a better shot than me too. So
I'm not. But my 9mm, I went in like about a year ago, and I went to the gun range, and man, I was like Mel Gibson. Remember in a Lethal Weapon, he drew a smiley face with the shots. That's what I was like.
Did you do that?
No, I didn't, but I was pretty good. I was like on target.
Have you ever done the police qualification course?
No.
I don't know how it is up in Mississippi, but here in Oklahoma, they used to start you at 50 yards with a pistol, but they decided that's not good because they don't really want, at that distance, they wanted using a rifle or shotgun, but
right.
They start us at 25 yards with a post there, and you've got to shoot a couple of times from one side of the post, switch to the other side, drop to a knee, and a couple more. Then you stand up, you advance to, I think, the 15-yard line, and then you take some shots there. And by the end of the course, you are 3 foot straight in front of the target, and you've got 2 seconds to draw your weapon and fire 2 shots center mass and 1 in the forehead. And you got to draw your weapon, put one hand against your chest, because if you don't, there's been people shoot themselves in the hand. So it's all timed. It's a fun course. And the most fun about it was you're shooting the department's ammo, and you're not having to spend your money on it.
Right, so exactly. It's all free.
That's man, ammo is just, man, I'll tell you what, if I am target practicing at home, I'm shooting 22 long rifle.
Right.
I've got a heavy frame Smith & Wesson semi-automatic pistol that, it's roughly the same weight as my service weapon was. And it doesn't, you shoot a 40 caliber or something like that, was about a nickel a shot or something, more.
9mm is 45 cents a shot at the minute.
Is okay, so I was way off. It's going up.
It was when Trump was in office. I don't know if it's went down.
Yeah, who knows? I haven't bought ammo in so long, but outside of that, I'm not a big gun guy. I do. As you know, when we go out in the field, I carry a firearm for protection, but it's criminal elements showing up, which is kind of very unlikely where I was. Where me and Elijah was on Sunday, there's nobody going to come down there.
Right.
Because at the north end of that is other people's property, and that's about 3 miles north of us, and that's a locked iron gate, so nobody can come in through there except the property owners. And then on the other side, you got to come way around through my family's property and pull your way in. There's literally no other way into that area. So it's a safe place. Matter of fact, I'd be fine. I could leave my tent and my stuff down there and go out and come back. And the camping spot that I've set up there, you cannot see it from anywhere. You can be literally 25 yards in that little field outside of it and not see it through that wall of green. So it's very hidden. But let me see here. Mel Gillum, Cornell, I was about to tell you to stop smoking the magic marker. It does look like a magic marker.
It's actually, it's really mild and it doesn't have any like flavor, so it's quite safe.
Well, funny thing is when Cornell first came on, he had just exhaled a big puff of that vapor, and it looked like the Millennium Falcon was on fire behind him.
Oh, so,
yeah. Yeah, it looked like his spaceship was on fire.
I think it was
so,
Steve,
yeah, it looks...
Steve Anderson was telling me what actual ship that this was. He said it wasn't the Millennium Falcon, it was something else. I can't remember. I might be wrong, though.
Oh, well, it's your spaceship. You can call it whatever you want.
Yeah, I'm going to just like fly around the universe at my leisure.
But yeah, you know, like I say, the recording out in the wild, and I appreciate everyone that hung out with me and Lodge the other night. It's some choppy video. Y'all had to put up with that. But we're, as far as the live feed from the field, I'm really learning as I go there. So anyone who's got constructive criticism that could be of help to me, that is very welcome. And I appreciate nobody just quitting us, but hanging out like they did. We had a good turnout. I think at one point there was up to around 50 people there.
That's why I had 5 on my stream.
Did you really?
Yeah, I'm like, hey, where is everybody?
I'll tell you, when one of the parts where Elijah wasn't on there and it was just me, he pulled you up and he said, Cornell said, "No, everybody's watching Dave. Screw Cornell," or something like that.
Yeah,
you know? I
messed up because I didn't know Dave was having a.
Well, the thing is, I knew you were going to be going live, but I didn't think about looking when.
Yeah, I was.
And then
same thing.
I got that notice that you were live, and I'm like going, my gosh, we kind of inadvertently scheduled on top of each other. I'm doing this on Tuesday nights. I kind of want to try to keep this going because I know Bigfoot Odyssey, they have Wednesday night, Friday night.
Here, RN has a question for you, but just
okay, great. Where's she at here?
No, next one.
Oh,
next one.
Okay.
Can she purchase Dave's music? Yeah, I've got one. It's really, really thorough.
T-shirt.
Carving.
Yeah, not on a. I might put that design on Teespring where you can get it through my Bigfoot and more.
Yeah, they're really good. It's really heavy and. Yeah, I've got one, and it's very good material. I've had it for like a year now, and it's like brand new.
Yeah, that's what I'm wearing right here.
Right,
I hope my picture's a little better tonight than usual. I'm at my house, not at my store. Last week is it all right?
It's okay.
Last week I did it from my business, which is 30 miles from here, because we were expecting a lot of storms, and I'm out here in the country. I just wouldn't have been able to get it at all. So, but our people said the picture was a little better. Last week I had the Squatching Cowboy on here, and he was a great interview. If you haven't checked out his channel, check out the Squatching Cowboy.
Yeah, I like him.
He was a lot of fun. He hung out and visited after the show for a while as well. I think I'm going to start working on a part 2 to my most recent book, Kiamichi Bigfoot, Investigating the Oklahoma Sasquatch. I've got some ideas for that. If there's anybody on here that are from Oklahoma that has a Bigfoot encounter of their own that they would like to have put in my new book on this, just send it to me in an email, and I'll consider that too, because I want to go into some more. Like I say, I've been looking into this mystery since the mid-90s and stuff, and I've got a lot of other things that I did not put in the first book, and thanks to everybody that's bought one, but it is selling still extremely well on Amazon. So I think I should probably do a part 2 to it, since it's not making me rich, but it's selling pretty good. So I appreciate that. Look, Cashew even found, I tell you what, she is really good at this. I do not have a YouTube channel for my music store, but there's my Facebook page for my music store. And I've told people before, I don't do Facebook as far as just for like social media. I have a Facebook that's strictly for advertising my business. So that's what that is. Mainly because I've got so many friends that are usually mad at each other because of stuff they're being said on Facebook, and I just don't get into that. But yeah, definitely send your encounter to me at bigfootandmore@yahoo.com. And if people want their encounters used on a video for me to talk about, analyze, or whatever, I do that.
That'd be great, just a book of encounters, Dave.
Yeah, but yeah, that
would be good.
That is yeah, I'd have to do some digging in that. I kind of like what I did on the first one. That's stuff we worked on, because that's that chapter that you're in, Cornell. That could have made a short book itself.
I haven't bought it yet.
Longest chapter.
I've been tight on money for the last 6 months or so, but I'm like, now that I'm in the clear, I'm going to buy it.
So you haven't read it yet?
No, I haven't. I'm going to have to.
Oh, that's why you're not mad at me.
I want to buy it from your store so it can be autographed. I was waiting on me going down there, but it's taking so long. So maybe I'll just buy it off Amazon. Actually, I'll do it right now. You guys keep talking.
Rico, I don't sell Gibson. What I sell at my shop, I sell on electric guitars. ESP products is my main ones. I sell PV, I sell Washburn, but the ESP products is my main electric guitar. On acoustic guitars, I sell, my big brand is Breedlove and Alvarez, but also carry Washburn and a few other inexpensive ones as well. And our big deal, we give guitar lessons there and all of that. So, yeah, but not Gibson. I tell you, Rico, the main thing is Gibson does not even sell hardly to independent stores anymore. If you're not Guitar Center or Musician's Friend or something like that, they don't even consider. They want like an extreme amount of money just to even consider it. So, yeah, that's true. April. Oh, Cowboy and April are fun to camp. Oh, yeah, you know them personally. That's right.
I just bought your book, Dave.
Oh, okay. Well, you can come back on my show then. Okay.
Somewhere. I kept forgetting. I want to see the photograph of me is terrible. I've got a big fat head and a stupid T-shirt on, but I still want to see myself.
No. The picture of you that's in the book is the one that I had the GoPro snap by just telling it to take a picture that you and me and Elijah are standing in the woods. So it's a good picture. And I have this software that's a head shrink software.
Oh, nice.
So
I hope you used it.
No, I'm kidding. But no, Blue Eyed Northern there, Cowboy, Joe Pass. Yeah, the Squatching Cowboy. He's the one that said, hey, because we were talking about moderators for that. Of course, I already had Cashew has been a great help too. And he said, hey, Blue Eyed Northern does moderating too. So I invited her to help out as well.
Be kind, just ask a question there. I want to answer it.
Okay, where are you at here?
Be kind, the third one up. So, be kind. I've just made it through some kind of financial hurdle that I was in for like 6 months, and I'm actually thinking of bringing my son down there, if that's okay with Dave, because he needs to get into the wilderness. He needs to.
What?
Yeah, I'm thinking of bringing Luke down. He's 14. He's fine.
Oh yeah. That'd be cool because I know Elijah. He wants to.
Yeah.
When you come down again, he had a great time hanging out with you as well. So
yeah, if Luke went down there, it would change his perspective. He's kind of gotten. He's a teenager, like preteen, 14, and he's kind of gotten kind of emo, and you know, I want to get him out into the woods and like brighten his perspective a bit, and like increase the wonder. That kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and gosh, time flies.
Yeah.
Last June, Mark from Livewire, he brought his son Austin along down there. We went out there, and Austin had a great time. That's what Mark told me later. Said Austin had a great time there. So yeah, I mean, it's. I just feel incredibly fortunate that my son Elijah is a grown up. Last week he turned 26, and he still likes to go out and do things with me.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a gift.
I just feel very, very blessed. And my daughter does too. She doesn't. Of course, she's married now and does a lot of different work, so she doesn't get to as much.
Is he still with a girlfriend? Still the same girlfriend?
Elijah? Oh yeah, it's his fiancee, Stacy. Yeah,
that's good.
Hey, she's great. I love her to death, man. She's a wonderful, wonderful girl. And the thing is, she was not she didn't really want to come camping with us on a Sunday because they went camping themselves the weekend before. But she encourages Elijah to go do things like that. So she's not one of these that's, no, you can't go if I don't, she encourages him to do these things too. So yeah, he done really well with her. She's a sweet person. Yeah, everyone needs to experience mosquitoes and oppressive heat without end. And that, Chris, that is one thing that I have a small concern with Cornell down here in southeast Oklahoma
I know.
in the summer. But haven't you guys kind of been in a heat wave up there, Cornell?
I mean, we get really bad humidity up here, and but we're also in a house. We're not really camping in the middle of it, but I'll figure it out.
Okay. But yeah, but I mean, seriously, it gets in like July and some of August down here. It's absolute misery. It's you add the mosquitoes like Chris was talking about, add the mosquitoes, the humidity, the ticks, and these ticks, they carry some serious diseases. You don't want to get Lyme's disease or whatever. So I mean, it's when it gets that certain heat and humidity down here, like if it's 95 degrees or more, plus that, you got to really want to be out there.
I'm expecting it.
But now, like when you've come before, I thought, what was it, October the first time, and then March
it was
the second?
Like 60 degrees. It was easy.
Yeah, the times you've been here before, it was perfect. Just a perfect time to be here. Summertime, it's more endured than it is enjoyed a lot of times.
Yeah.
Now, Sunday, then it got later in the night. It got down in the 70s and was pretty nice, though. Now, yeah, Chris here lived in the thick of the Everglades for 10 years, and I'm sure that's worse than here in Oklahoma.
I gotta pee.
Okay. So Cornell's gone. Chris didn't, excuse me, aren't you from Oklahoma or lived here in Oklahoma at one time? Or am I mixing that up somehow? Let's see it here. Let's see. Always enjoy the level of heat when you hear that high-pitched ring in your ears. Yeah, I think, Mel, when that happens, it you may be in a little bit of danger, so I can hear myself coming through Cornell's computer over there. But yeah, blue-eyed northern Louisiana, southeast Texas, I imagine. I remember one time years ago, we drove down to Houston and got out there, and I felt we just melted into the ground. Okay, so you haven't lived here, so. Okay, be kind. How was the rest of the overnighter? Well, it basically was just a good camp trip. We didn't have anything uh, that I could relate to Sasquatch with, and that's the thing. You don't every time you go out, you're not going to find activity or hear activity like that. Matter of fact, most of the time when you go out on these expeditions, I'll just use that term loosely, it is just a good camp trip. But every once in a while, you go out and there's some interesting activity goes on. Now, when Cornell come down on his second trip, that's especially that second night there in the Kiamichi Mountains, that was there were just all kinds of weird stuff going on. We were hearing there was wood knocks, there was rock clacks, and these were coming from 3 different sides of camp. Cornell had that really neat recording device that he brought and put out in the woods. And when he got home and started analyzing what was on that, he had picked up some whoops and stuff, not to mention whatever that was that come down and cozied up next to his tent at night. So,
yeah, I heard this thing. Like I've told this story 100 times, but I love telling it and reliving it. But I like wake up at 3:30 in the morning, and I hear this outside my tent. I'm like, it's like, because the whole day was like so quiet. It was like a tomb, as Dave says. The forest inhaled.
Oh yeah,
and
held its breath. The forest was holding its breath.
Holding its breath. That's right. And it was like crunch, crunch, crunch outside my tent. Like, I would say 10 feet away. And I'm like sitting there and I'm like, and I myself inhaled. I'm afraid to breathe in case this thing hears me. I'm afraid to get my phone in case the sleeping bag rustles. And then I totally, wimped out and put my hands over my ears and just wished it would go away. I'm like, I want this thing to just stop. I want to go back to sleep, even though that's what I'm there for. But when you're in that situation in the dead of night and you hear that, and the forest is totally dead, and there's something outside your tent, and people have said it could have been a bear just walking like with 2 feet at a time, or something like that. It could have been. It really could have been. But at that point, that's what I was picturing a Bigfoot.
It was not a bear, and I can.
All right, you know any terrain.
Look here. No, it's not because of that. We did everything wrong in territory where there are bears. We left the cooking grease. Let me answer RN's question before I forget. Yes, RN, I am. That's where my business is in Ada. Had that been a black bear that had come into camp, it would have made a beeline for our food.
Yeah, we cooked
steaks. They can't help it. They're going to go for that. My son Elijah had cooked steaks for us. The skillet with the grease and stuff in it was still setting out in the open. Our other food was setting out. If it had been a bear, that would have, with a cooler, the bear would have gone straight for that. So there's 2 options, and I'm saying this without doubt in my mind. There's 2 options. Either a group of people, because we were hearing these wood knocks and the rock clacks coming simultaneously from 3 different sides of our camp. One down the hill from us in the creek, one knocked later down in the bottoms that was over the east ridge from us, and then at one time up over towards the top of the ridge to our south. So either a group of people hiked a few miles through the brush and the mountains just to come and play a prank on us and leave. And if they'd have drove in, we would have heard them for a long ways off, because you remember how the road was there. You cannot quietly drive back into where we were at. So either it was that very creative group of people who, by the way, no one else knew we were going out there but you and me and my son and his fiance. So either it was that super secretive group of people, or it was a Sasquatch.
And the wood knocks, if you go onto my channel and listen to the whistles, whoops, and wood knocks, you'll hear the wood knocks. And it's like crunch, well, not crunch, but bang, bang, like just like one. And it's like, was it a woodpecker? I mean, you've heard it. It's not a woodpecker.
Mm-hmm.
It was,
but yeah, I'm sure that Cashew can find the link to Cornell's video to that probably. But anyway, we left the Cashew put the link to Cornell's YouTube channel up there as well, and he's got the audio that he plays on there as well. So definitely check that out.
It was weird. It was weird as hell. And we heard this branch being broken, like it sounded like an assassination, right? It was like crack,
it was
crack, crack, crack,
slow, deliberate food audio. Oh,
good audio.
Good audio. Yeah. I tell you what, Brent. I'd like to have Brent on again sometime as well.
Oh yeah, anytime.
Just to not to pick on anybody else's YouTube channel, but just to talk about the work he does up there in the mountains. Because man, he goes way back in there. I'm a little bit jealous, when I watch those videos of him up in the, I believe is that the Cascades, Brent, that's up there that you're going into?
He's on one side of the Cascades. He's on the mountainous side, as far as I can remember. He'll answer. But he comes across like stuff in the middle of the woods, like old cars and like abandoned cabins and stuff. And I mean, he has some really interesting stuff.
Okay, I clicked on. I'm down. We can discuss Washington State Bigfooting. Oh yeah. Definitely want to do that. So west side of the Cascades. Yeah, that area just looks so lush. I mean, it down here is too, but it's just a different type.
Yeah.
Got a question here from Rico. Any experience at Brown Springs, Oklahoma? Drove out there a couple of weeks ago. Pretty creepy place. Old cars and stuff. For that, you might check Red Dirt Cryptid Investigations YouTube channel. Brian Terrell. I had him on here a couple of weeks ago. That was a really good interview. It seems like I remember him mentioning something about that area. So, Brent, I would love to go over into British Columbia sometime.
Oh, man.
Just absolutely. I always said if I ever moved out of the United States, I would want to move up there to British Columbia. It's, of course, I guess it's a lot of the same type of terrain as Washington State there too. But just absolutely beautiful. So we got a pretty good number in chat right now, Cornell. Wow. We got 35 people hanging out with us.
Yeah,
and I appreciate that.
BC is so beautiful that people accuse Steve of using a green screen, which I don't think he does.
Oh yeah, you don't have to. You don't at all. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's like my screen behind me. If you look at that creek, my well, it's not a green screen. It's a bed sheet hung on the wall behind me, and it's brown actually. But these pictures are all pictures that I've taken uh, down there in the Kiamichi Mountains, where we go. Cornell is stood in that very creek right behind me. No, that's really green there. So that picture was probably taken in June. But yeah, my screens that I use when I'm here in my house and not outside are, at least pictures where where I go. BC is insane. I travel through the Okanagan area. Well, there's Bigfoot Okanagan. Noggin. Hey, how is he doing?
I'm not
Bigfoot
sure.
Okanagan.
Slowly but surely, I think. I'm not sure.
Yeah, he had some pretty bad health issue here a while back. But yeah, last I heard, he was making improvements. So,
Leon, yeah, I'm not too sure exactly.
Yeah, Leon Thompson, yeah. The guy Curious Cryptid, he was making videos there for a while, keeping up with him there. Leon and what's Curious Cryptids? That's Steve.
That's Steve. We haven't had him on.
Yeah, those guys are just smart. We've had Steve on, Curious Cryptid.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
I thought it was an after show.
Not,
I can't remember.
No, him and I think he was on the same time Leon was.
It's been screwed up here for me. Can't remember anything.
So anybody over there got any questions for me or Cornell while we're here?
Yeah, my daughter's still up playing her. My daughter has just gone into this phase. She's like 8 years old and she's really into sport, and I'm really happy. But she but tonight she's on her iPad. She's still awake. I'm like, oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. But I can't blame her because she's getting into like football and martial arts and stuff, and that makes me happy when a girl does that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, my daughter, she liked her deal was softball. But man, I tell you, the school sports has just gotten. I mean, when I was in school, we would practice at school during gym hour or whatever, and maybe a day or two during the week. But when she played softball, and this is what I just did not like about the school at all, 7 days a week. That coach would have them practicing after school and on Sundays too. And that little creep, and I just about had words about that. But I was looking around and seeing the absolute coach worship from these other parents that I was like going, man, these are brainwashed zombies.
Huh.
And yeah, I was just like, it was unbelievable. And I mean, if that coach told them to jump off a cliff for their kid to play ball, they'd have jumped head first off. I never seen such a thing.
Hey,
I'm
Zach,
too independent a thinker to follow after somebody like that. Just can't do it.
Zach has a question. He's the first caps up there.
First caps. Where are we at here?
Just scroll up a bit. Zach Squatch.
Yep, here we go. Any new strategies for your next trip?
Yes.
Well, I have not been able to convince my wife or my son's fiance to come along to be bait, so I'm having to come up with something different. But really, Zach, it's the same as far as strategies. The same thing I always do. I just go camp, sit, listen, walk around. And my reasoning for that is when you read, and I'm talking about reports that I myself consider credible, the unanimous number of those are people that are going about their business in the woods and just happen to see one of these creatures here. I mean, even ours, when we were there, when Cornell was down, we were pretty much just camping, and it came to us, or I dare say they, because there was more than one individual out there in the woods around us. And after we had went to bed, we got in the tents. That's when it come down to the and see Cornell's tent was at the edge of camp, right on where the mountain came down, and it had come down through there. So Cornell had made the comment that usually when I solo camp, I sleep out in the open, like on a cot. And he says, well, maybe you should sleep in the tent. Maybe that's what made it comfortable enough to come down. So Sunday night, when me and Elijah went camping, we did sleep in a tent, but nothing did. As far as to my knowledge, nothing came around, unless the lack of the animals that we usually hear calling out was a sign that something was close. It's hard to say. But Zach, that's pretty much my strategy. Is I'll go and I'll scout the area looking for evidence, as in like footprints, tree breaks, or something that I deem out of the ordinary, and then go back to camp and just be alert and pay attention. What is the history of the Sasquatch in Oklahoma? As far as before the relocation of the Native American tribes here, I'm not sure before that, but I know there's many native legends and folklore about these creatures in Oklahoma and when they got to Oklahoma. As far as written, there are the oldest article that I found, and I think it was an old McCurtain County newspaper from which that's the southeast, that's the most southeast county in Oklahoma. There was an account I found of a man riding horses back in it was the late 1800s and coming across this thing. Of course, didn't call it a Bigfoot. They didn't have that word for them at that time, but he got close to this slough, which is basically a swamp, and in some really tall grass, this hairy bipedal thing jumped up and went running through the grass in a hopping motion to pick up speed to get away from him and get into the thicker woods. That's the oldest one that I have seen as far as in writing. But it would be curious to know, I mean, the tribes that were actually native to Oklahoma that would have been pushed out to make room, I guess, for the tribes that were relocated here. I'd be curious what they had in their old folklore as concerning that.
Mm.
So, yeah, I kind of coined that, Zach. I always laugh when you say sleeping in a tent just makes you a sack lunch. Yeah. That is it. Make you an easy carry bag of sack lunch for something to drive.
I'm not afraid of Sasquatch. I'm afraid of the spiders. That's why I
go
in there.
Man,
yeah.
I should have took pictures. Those things were all over the tent that night. And when I would, there was one like this big around, a big wolf spider just right there on the zipper, and I just kind of shoot it out of the way, But yeah, those wolf spiders, they are huge out there in the woods, and they're everywhere this time of year. They're not venomous though; they won't hurt you.
I don't care.
The only two spiders you got to be aware of down here is the black widow spider, which is very dangerous, and the brown recluse. Other than that, they're just harmless. Snake. I see. Sharon, you got somebody here that shares your sentiment here. Spiders.
I love snakes.
I love them. Like somebody made the comment. Looking for Dave. Now Cornell won't come back.
Flamethrower. I'll burn my own tent down.
I'll tell you what, and this has happened to me firsthand so many times. When you're walking through the woods at night down here, there's those orb web spiders that come out at night. And they build these giant webs across between the trees, and you'll walk through them, and and I've had a spider just stuck to my face, totally harmless, but you're just like, ugh. So, yeah. But yes, somebody asked the other night about, I don't know, something about the copperhead, killing the copperhead. And this is just me, man. If I'm not going to eat the animal, or if the animal is not a direct threat to me, I do not kill anything. I just don't. And like the copperhead, I got him out of camp, and I said this the other night. I said, I have an understanding with venomous reptiles around here. I don't step on them. They don't bite me. So it's just paying attention. Here's a question. Do you think the Sasquatch people migrate with the seasons? And I like the fact, Tonaldo, that you refer to them as the Sasquatch people, because that's my personal view. Myself, I believe they are a kind of people. And I don't think that they migrate with the seasons. And keep in mind, this is just my opinion. I could very much be wrong. I think that they do migrate through certain areas, but not necessarily with the seasons. And the reason I say that is you've got, in all of the lower 48 states, you have Sasquatch sightings. And it seems like they're highly adaptable to whatever environment they happen to be in, because you have wintertime sightings, reports of Sasquatch in the northern states, all the way up to even Alaska. And you have wintertime to summertime sightings of them all the way down into the Florida, even in Louisiana in the summertime. And I would think, personally, if an animal wanted to migrate with the seasons, something like a Sasquatch would not want to be in the deep south in the summer, because Cordell made a statement one night on it when we were analyzing some videos, and it was that skunk ape down in Florida killing a snake, or looked like, and Cornell said, "What a crappy existence." And I'm cleaning that up. I'm not using the word he used, but said, "What a crappy existence." And I'm like going, yeah, can you imagine being Bigfoot in the swamp in the summertime? As much as mosquitoes bother us, mosquitoes, ticks, leeches, venomous snakes. I mean, but then again, black bear, they don't leave there either, so I don't know. But your question, I think they are highly. Miserable.
Listen, miserable having to kill a snake to have something to eat, and it's like, oh my god.
Well, snakes don't taste bad,
I'm tasting one.
But anyway, to finish your question there, I believe that they are highly nomadic, but I don't believe they migrate with the seasons out of a necessity like certain animals do. And again, that's just my thoughts on it. Could be wrong, but I think the evidence that I have seen and collected point to them being like, like say a mountain lion in an area, to get the food it needs, they may have a range of 100 miles for one. So I imagine the Sasquatch probably does the same thing.
Doesn't a bear have to have 400 miles of territory? That's what I heard.
I don't know. But, back to the British Columbia thing, one thing, and British Columbia is beautiful, but there's one thing up there that you would have to consider in the wild that you do not have to down here in the South, and that's grizzly bears.
Yes, they're freaky.
We got black bear down here, but I've seen one only twice in the wild, and both times it ran away. So let's see if I'm missing any questions here. Hey Cordell, how is it that we have managed to get all the really nice people in our chat?
I don't know.
No trolls.
It's all you. It might
Nomadic,
be
yeah.
Might be cashew though.
Yep. Okay, here's one. Chris going to chime in. I didn't see signs of them in the Everglades in the summer, but we flooded then too. Yeah, I thought about that. Now the Chris, and there's a name for the islands that are out in the Everglades. You know, I've seen people hiking through the Everglades with water, and then you'll have like an island there. And I read a book by I can't remember his name. He's one of the old veterans of the Bigfoot mystery, and he did a book where he's talking about those islands down there in the Everglades, the Palmetto Islands or something like that. I can't remember. If you think of that, Chris, put that up there. But
greetings from Belgium. You got somebody watching from Belgium. Hi, Sharon.
Wow. Talk about from across the pond. Hey, Belgium's a beautiful place too. I've never been to Europe.
I went through it one time.
Had.
It was raining the whole time.
Really?
Yeah, I went from Holland to France, and I passed through Belgium, and it rained the whole time. That's okay though.
Yeah, isn't that where they have all these like big fields, like what is it, flowers and stuff that they sell to the rest of the world, or is that?
That's Holland. That's the
Holland. Okay, gotcha.
The tulips.
Okay.
Belgium is famous for jewelry and diamonds.
Chris told us they're hammocks is what they call those islands in the Everglades. So, but yeah, welcome, Sharon. I'm glad you showed up there. You must be. Thank you, Strangeland. We definitely appreciate that. I'm missing something here. Okay. All right. What about the paranormal aspect of the Sasquatch people? What are your thoughts? You know, if I'm just talking about the evidence that I have personally found, I have not I've not experienced anything that would that I could attest being paranormal. However, I have received reports from people that have noticed. Okay, I take it back. There's one thing, and I'll go back to it. But I have received reports from people that are very sincere that did believe that they experienced something that would fall into the paranormal. The closest I can, and this was witnessed by my son, my then wife, is when I was investigating the casino footage up there. And Elijah brought this up the other night. He was like 5 years old, but we were out near that area in the woods, and something was pacing around in the forest near us, and I don't know, just a malfunction in our SUV at the time or what. But when this thing got close, the automatic locks inside our vehicle, all four of them just started going, just locking and unlocking like fast as a machine gun.
Yeah, that's weird.
And when whatever it was, went away, that stopped. I have no idea what kind of coincidence that would be or what caused it. I don't know. That would be the closest thing that I can. Now there's man, and I don't see this person in chat here, but about the paranormal thing, I heard something, and this is from a Native American standpoint, and this was a woman and her son that comes in the store, that the little people, which is a common thing among a lot of native tribes here. I know with the Cherokee, which I'm a little bit Cherokee, the little people in that legend would take a child and keep it a while, and while it was keeping that child, would teach it all of the medicinal plants and ways of a healer. And when it would bring the child back to the tribe, return it, it would grow up and be the shaman or the medicine man of that tribe. And this lady that I was talking to remembered, and she's she's older than me because her son would be closer to my age, I guess. Actually remembered seeing some of these little people when she was a child out playing, and said in some of the older people, when they would try to point them out, did not see a little person or little people, but would see instead an orb of light in the woods. And that was the first I'd heard of that. And I was like, maybe that has, those legends go together or so. And I'll maybe get over here to the chat. Cornell, if you see a question I'm missing.
No, I just wanted to add that the whole supernatural thing with Bigfoot would answer a lot of questions. Not that I know or don't know, but that would answer a lot of questions about why we don't have pictures, for instance. Like, I don't know.
Why we have what now?
Why we don't have pictures or video evidence.
Yeah, it's well, and there is, you know.
I know you've seen them. Yeah, I just haven't.
But yeah, but the picture, man, it's just yeah, it's a huge mystery there. What do we got here? Okay, and yeah, there's a lot of things in I try to be very sensitive to that stuff. Now, just because I say I haven't found evidence to something, that doesn't mean that I'm just discarding what somebody did. I tend to comment decisively on things that I've found evidence for. Now, the whole do I believe in the paranormal? Yeah, I do, depending on how you want to define it. I believe there's spirits and things like that. Yeah, I mean, I'm a Christian person myself. I believe in an afterlife, a God, and such as that. And I guess if you tried to coin it, that stuff's kind of paranormal in itself, you know. Yeah. So I try to keep an open mind about things. Let me see here. I saw another Ronaldo. I think I'm missing some things on the track of the skunk ape. Gary Spikes. Gary's from Oklahoma. He's actually know him. Hadn't seen him in a while.
I interviewed his son, Gary Spikes Jr. That was a great interview where he brought the guys up to he brought the guys up to a mountain to Bigfoot hunt, and one of them came right up to his window like I was afraid of happening, and he got out of there real quick. Yeah, that was a really good interview, actually. Cashew, if you can find that. Yeah, go ahead.
And here's a good question here, Cornell. Why do some people never see anything and others claim to have multiple sightings in different places?
Yeah,
I don't know. Of course, I mean, there's different aspects. Some people, there's mistaken identity. There, unfortunately, are hoaxers and people that tell big stories. And then there are people that I know personally that I think they have had more than one encounter like that. Yeah. Maybe some people are observant to the point that they just pay attention. I've got a good friend that says he goes down to Kiamichi all the time, and I've never seen anything, and I don't believe in it. And I just told him, I said, I can't help it that you don't pay attention. And he's my good friend, so we laugh at each other. So it's no harm, no foul.
Yeah.
But that is a good question. And sometimes, like point out, my friend Mark, who's had the Livewire channel, his place was just in a spot that these things just seemed to converge on. And I think it had a lot to do with his children. So, yeah, it's a mystery. Here, Tonaldo, and I'm 100% with you. Got to give respect to the Native Americans and their verbal history. And they have a very rich history on that subject. And
Zexquatch brings up a good question. Highlight Zexquatch there. I didn't realize that he had so many.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And I was talking with Carrie Arnold here, the other night. Well, we was texting back and forth. He was forwarding some pictures he had recently taken. He's got this new lens, and if you watch some of his show down there, I told him if he comes to Oklahoma, I said, bring that down here, because I asked him, I said, it makes me wonder how many times when we're down in the Kiamichis or something that these things are watching us that we don't know it. And he's like, probably a lot more than what you think. And
we saw something, Dave. Remember somebody pointed something out to us, the black thing way in the distance. Remember that? But we couldn't tell, so we just passed it off. But it was jet black, and it was way in the distance, and it was like where we were filming, and I could swear it was moving.
Really?
Do you remember that?
No, was it a picture or just pointed out in the video?
It was somebody pointed out in the video, and I think it was when we were doing that thing where, do you remember up the cliff someone was throwing like acorns or something like that?
Oh yeah. Okay, that's what you're talking about.
It was way in the distance over there, and I'm like, we just can't.
That
tell.
Was just hard to. There's just some things it's hard to tell, but you spend it away. And Sharon, that's right place, right time. And if you spend enough time in an area where these things really are, and maybe some people have more because a person is in an area so often, and if there's a Sasquatch that frequents there, they become more familiar with the person that's going in there. And I'm thinking out loud here. This is all theoretical. And Zach Swatch, yes, attentiveness may have a lot to do with it.
Yeah, I think so too.
But yeah, please. I mean, we've got people taking part really well in chat. Do put your questions in caps, and I'll do my best, and Cornell as well, to get to it. Cornell, you should talk some. I'm talking too much.
I thought there was a question. No, I don't know. I don't really have much to add. Apart from Kerry, when Dave mentions Kerry, I've listened to his encounter 5 times. Exactly 5 times. And it's probably his highest, most popular video. And I mean, Kerry's, I don't know, I just believe the guy, and listening to the way he tells that story every time. And he's told it on our channel too, his own channel, and then other channels, and it's always the same story. A couple of little details left out, but even when I tell my shitty story of someone walking around my camp, that will change a little bit too, because I'll remember stuff, or I'll be like, oh shit, did that really happen, or did it walk like that? So that's totally normal. But if you ever hear Carrie's encounter, that's the best encounter in Bigfoot lore, I think.
And the thing about it is Carrie had such a good view of it.
Oh, yeah.
The view, it was just there. And, to hear him tell it, and he told it when we interviewed him, it just, he thought it was, the way he put it, he said he thought it was a black gentleman, and he said that the family he leased the land from there for hunting was a black family, and he just thought it was the gentleman that was down there, and raised up and kind of waved, and then he walked toward him. He saw, oh my gosh, this is not a person. And this was in the early morning. It was pretty dark out, but he got a face-to-face encounter, and that would have to be quite unnerving. Sharon is good question. Do little people really exist? And Sharon, the folklore regarding little people in Native American tribes is as prominent, from what I have found, as the Sasquatch. And I'll even take it further. The gentleman and his mom that was in the store that are and they're of the Comanche tribe. We're talking about it, and it's just part of their culture. But also, if you go back to, even Cornell's home country of Ireland or any of Europe, you had gnomes, fairies, little, it seems like every culture that I know of has a version of little people in that. So, and even, what is it, Iceland? Up there, there was a gentleman that was in Ada, and I talked to him, and he was from Iceland, and we started talking about the elves, and he said, yeah, he said in Iceland, he said, even the government takes that seriously. He said, like a natural rock mound, he said that Iceland, he said, they will not tear those rocks down to put a road through. They will take the road around it rather than disturb it.
Like fairy rings in Ireland, they do the same thing.
Yeah, but they avoid it because you said a lot of people there still believe that to disturb that, you're disturbing basically a doorway down into the subterranean.
And you're cursed, and you'll die from some kind of like accident with a tractor or something like that kind of shit. That's what people like. Fairy rings in Ireland is the same thing.
I do not have the picture where I can put it up, but this same person I'm talking about, there's an old picture of a Choctaw medicine man with a little person. What they said is a little person standing behind it. This photograph was taken in like 1900, so it's old. And I mean, it kind of looks like a doll or something. But anyway, they said that the person did not see the little person beside this medicine man when he took the picture, but the camera saw it. And what the medicine man said was this particular little person, and in the picture is only like a couple of feet tall, said it would lead him out into the woods and stuff and help him to locate medicinal plants. So it's called The Healer and His Helper or something like that. And I'll have to try to get a hold of that, maybe post it somewhere. Hey, there's Yeti's uncle in there now. Yeah, there's Carrie Arnold's encounter, Cashew put.
Yeah, it's my favorite. Carrie Arnold's encounter is my favorite, and the second one is Mike Woolley's encounter from Sasquatch Chronicles. That was fantastic.
Sharon, not in Oklahoma. I think we've got some like small fault line, but I mean the big fault line stuff would be I think I'm just getting your text, Cornell.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah. I got really bad phone signal out here, but Sharon, I think the big fault lines like out in California and stuff. I mean, that's a good question, but I don't know the answer to that. But that's a good question. So let's see here. I'm getting behind here.
I'm going to copy and paste what Cashew just wrote.
Oh, where at? Okay. Shot. Ah.
Yeah.
She found it. My goodness.
Oh, wow.
Look
That's
at
weird.
that. Okay. Is Cashew not just amazing?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Choctaw medicine man Billy Washington and his little helper. There you go. Yeah. Seriously, everybody's seeing that. Copy and paste that link and
bring it up on your StreamYard, can you? Just hit share screen.
Well, it's not a link I can click on.
I can do it. Hold on.
So are you doing it? Billy, yeah, that's exactly it. Medicine man Billy Washington and his little helper. I mean, and it looks kind of like a little doll, but it's one of those really old, or the one I saw is a really old photograph that's kind of hard to make out. Get up here. Yeah, here's a good one here by Gene. People forget that years ago they didn't have much for the written word, so they told fables and stories to warn the locals of what is out there and how to avoid or protect themselves. Here's a strange land. We were always told, where did Cornell go? He must have clicked on the picture of the little people and got zapped off. I don't know. We were always told of fairies and elves, etc., and it's part of our heritage, mostly Irish. I have fairies and the little beings around me, very common as well as others. That's interesting. And where are you from, Strangeland? As far as, are you from over here in the States or overseas? Choctaw Medicine Man, Billy Washington. Yeah, I can't believe you found that so quick. Oh, Cornell's computer crashed. So, well, shoot. Maybe he'll pop back on here in a little bit. See if I'm missing any questions up here. Yeah, the fault line thing. That's Sharon. That's very curious. I'll never forget that scream. So you heard what you believe to be a Sasquatch scream. Was that down in Texas or up in the Kiamichi Mountains? I know the Squatching Cowboy, which is a friend of Blue Eyed Northern, he comes up to Oklahoma quite a bit. Oh yeah, Newfoundland. Yeah, that's that's beautiful country up there. Imagine it's quite a bit colder than down here in the south in the winter, though. Yeah, Sean, I don't know about that. I mean, what's the other word for it? Something sound anyway, that like a tiger does or whatever to affect the prey to whatever. I don't know. I've heard of that. I've never heard people talk about getting mind zapped and stuff. I've literally never experienced anything like that myself. I mean, yeah, I get the creeps once in a while out in the woods, but nothing I don't just overcome and go on. But had that Carrie Arnold interview link up before you two were finished talking about it. That's good. Let's see. Eastern Canada. Let's see. I'm trying to catch up over here on there he is.
Yeah, sorry. For some reason, when I try to share a screen, I just texted you. When I try to share a screen, it crashes my computer. I don't know why.
Okay.
It's a memory thing, obviously.
Go ahead.
No, I have to go pretty soon,
okay. Yeah, we've got more people in chat now than we did. So
really,
yeah, infrasound. Thanks, Gene. Is Sean the EMP and infrasound? Is that the same thing that you're talking about? And I've heard people talk about it. I've never experienced anything like that myself. Let's see, I had some very. Northwest Washington State has some very strange encounters in the mountains. 100% no doubt in the Sasquatch people. They are here. Yeah, I would say definitely. Here we go. Blue-eyed Northern. I was in Alabama at Flat Rocks with Cowboy.
We doing the movie? Cowboy was doing a movie.
What?
Cowboy was doing a Western movie. He was asking for people. Yeah, he was asking for people on Facebook would they take part in his movie.
Recently?
Yeah, like a couple of months ago. Was that Blue-eyed Northern? Were you part of that? Where is Mark, by the way? Livewire. I haven't seen him for ages.
He popped in last week on my live show I did, but I haven't seen him tonight. Oh, Mid-South. Hey there, Mark. Wait, where's Mark? Which Mark?
I don't know. It was really cute. Cowboy did a really good job. So he did do a movie.
Yeah, I seen the short thing he did about he was doing the Outlaw Josie Whale things where he was telling the person, I've heard you haven't subscribed to my channel. What I want you to do is back away real slowly and hit that subscribe. Yeah, I don't know if that's the same thing, but it was hilarious.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
So anyway, yeah, we've well, if anybody's got any last minute stuff they want to ask, we've been going about an hour and a half, and I'm going to have to go here pretty quick. Get ready for work tomorrow. Hate to leave good company. This has been good.
Yeah, it's been fun. Oh, here, Mid-South.
Oh, there's another Mark. Said, my name is Mark. A lot of people on Facebook know me by name. Okay. So now we know Mid-South Sasquatch's name is Mark also. So, yeah, before anytime I'd see Mark, we were thinking it was Livewire because his name is Mark as well. So.
Awesome. So yeah, Dave and I what's that?
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say Dave and I were thinking of doing a couple more interviews, collaborating with Into the Void. So, well, it's just a thought right now, but we'll probably get somebody cool on. We had one of our best interviews was what's his name? Brent knows him from up in BC. He was great. We got him cigars sent to his house and stuff.
Oh, Steinberg,
yeah, he's a legend, that guy.
Yeah, not cigars, pipe tobacco.
Tobacco.
What was it? A Cavendish, Cavendish pipe tobacco, and he wasn't shy. He gave his address on here for anybody that wanted to send him some pipe tobacco, and I think some of the people in chat actually sent him some of his favorite pipe tobacco because what is it that up in Canada, up in BC, the taxes on the tobacco is so high, it's very expensive, or something.
Yeah.
So, Thomas Steinberg. Yeah,
he's one of my favorites.
Hey, may I tell you, Thomas, he's one of the old, I call him the old guard.
Yeah, he is.
You can get on a Sasquatch Archives has video of him from back in like the 80s, even going to some of those deals there, so he's been in this stuff longer than I have. That's a long time. But yeah, he was a lot of fun to interview. We thought he wasn't going to make it because he got stuck in traffic, remember?
Yeah, there was that whole thing in BC where there was like landslides and shit. Something like that.
Yeah.
Tall ones.
Yeah, Brent, I think Brent's the one that made the deal, like the whole Batman thing that's in the sky, like the Steinberg symbol. You know what I'm talking about? Batman that puts the pipe up in the sky, to signal for the Thomas Steinberg. But yeah, when Thomas would talk about some of the um, oh, what was it? The old people like Eric Beckjord, and I'm sure you wouldn't know who. You may not know who that is, but he was he was a, I'll just say he was quite the character back in the early '90s, late '80s, and stuff. I mean, gosh, he'd find anything from big. I mean, it was just silly. You'd have to do some research on him, but he was a character, and Thomas had some funny memories of him as well. Um, yeah, I don't, Mark. I don't really think I have any friends on Facebook because my Facebook channel is just a business site.
No,
I
Mark,
have followers, but I don't have a.
No, Mark and I had a bit of an argument.
Oh,
You're Native American, Mark. We had a bit of an argument the other day on Facebook about tree structures. Right? You're on Bigfoot Canada. I know you. You'd be interested to have on.
Okay. Well, he's I believe Mark is from northern Arkansas, if I remember.
Same guy.
Correctly. Yeah. Yeah, I don't have a personal Facebook channel. I just have a music store Facebook, and I only use it for advertising. Gas is $2.09 a liter. Man, I tell you what, right now where I'm at, gas is at $4.20 a gallon. It's the cheapest I can find.
It's more here. It's like $4.70 here.
Oh my gosh, it's just getting. That's why here recently I've been going out in the woods closer to my house instead of driving all the way down to the Kiamichi, because that's just, I mean, man, and I live 30 miles from my work, so I drive 60 miles round trip every day. And you talk about cutting into, yeah, Mark, I tell you, I really don't argue with people on that. You know, I am all for dialogue on opposing views as long as it's in a respectful manner. If somebody wants to get mean about something, I just don't talk.
Yeah, Mark, come on. Anyway, shoot Bigfoot more an email, and we'll set something up for sure. I've saw your photographs and stuff, and you look like the real deal. Love to hear your thoughts.
Kansas squash found at $3.96 in Missouri. It was $3.96 or $3.90 something here last week, but today it was up to $4.20.
Wow. Strange.
Yeah, look at this. It's just crazy. Hey, the gas prices are scarier than Sasquatch.
Apparently, they're going to get a lot worse come the winter. They're going to be like $10.
Can't be. Nobody will be able to function then.
That's what I heard.
We can't do $10 a gallon. That'll ruin my business and everybody else's. That's not sustainable. I'd have to move into my store and live there and hope somebody, local would walk and buy things.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing, though. A lot of people are saying it. Anyway, on a lighter note, yeah, I got to go myself. My daughter's finally sleeping, thank God. We have the AC blasting here. I've got this huge AC unit, and I've got like a 900 square foot apartment, and it serves the whole apartment. So I went down and checked on her, and she's all cozy and cold. What's this?
Tonaldo, I have received reports of something kind of cloaking in the woods, but it's not the person that has sent me that report was not attributing it to a Bigfoot or anything, but just something he saw that was like that outside his house.
Oh yeah, the predator.
I just think as far as Bigfoot goes, just me personally, I just think they're incredibly good at hiding.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, this is there's a lot of there's enough mystery about these things to go around that, it's endless. But I do think, as in Shakespeare, there are more things in heaven and earth. I think there's more things out there than we know, for sure. But what? Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that are reported like that. I don't know though about that. But I can only, personally comment on evidence that I have seen myself, and I'm leaning toward an incredibly elusive, highly intelligent uh, type of a human, or very closely related to human. I like the Sasquatch people, as you put it earlier, Tonaldo. But yeah, that's. Let's see what Patty says here. I've heard that cloaking pixel thing called Glimmer Man. Now, honestly, when you're talking about a cloaking pixel thing or Glimmer Man or something like that, to me, that would be terrifying.
We had that on video.
You do?
No, there's video of that thing walking around. It's like the Predator.
Yeah,
same thing as the Predator.
Here's the thing. I've been in the woods. One time I saw the Bigfoot across the creek from me. It was small. I stayed the rest of the, I stayed. If I seen something like that pixelated cloaking looking thing, I am going home. That would unnerve me. Same thing with the whole dogman thing. I've never found any kind of evidence for anything like that. If I was in the woods and saw a bipedal, hairy creature that looks like a man, but it had a head like a wolf, I am leaving.
I'm out of there.
Because to me, that stuff, and again, define paranormal, what used to be paranormal today, maybe scientific fact on some things, and maybe some of that falls into the same. I don't know. But let me see here. Paranormal Bigfoot seems like something better left to people that rhyme with
bartender and Jizdal.
Bartender or Jizdal. I don't know what that is. Oh, okay. Is Scott Scott Carpenter or Steve is now. I've actually, I have actually spoken with Scott Carpenter on the phone 3 times, I believe, getting his, because on my book there's a chapter on Kiamichi Bigfoot titled "What Are They?" and I'm not endorsing different people's views on that, but I write about people's views on that, and Scott shared with me why he thinks that the Sasquatch are the Nephilim and stuff of that. And because when I write down what somebody's opinion is on something, I want to be accurate, so I like to get it straight from them. So, Scott was he was kind enough to speak with me and share that. I'm not of that opinion myself, but I totally respect anybody that is their opinion. Cloak, am I missing anything here?
Yeah, the whole Glimmerman Predator thing might not be anything to do with Bigfoot, as Paddy Troy was saying. It might be something totally alien, and I'm not opposed to aliens being on the Earth. Not at all.
No, matter of fact, I would be surprised if they weren't.
Right.
And maybe, that's just thinking out loud. Maybe when somebody sees something cloaked or whatever observing, maybe that is an ET disguising itself to get a close look. Who knows? Oh, but this being said, and this is way outside of Bigfoot, but I've got and I think this would fall more into something demonic or whatever, but I've got a report of a person experiencing dark figures in their room at night.
Oh, I've
And
had
it
that
turned
too.
out it turned out it wasn't just the one person, it was the person's child as well that told them about it years later. And it turned out they were both encountering the same thing in their home, and it was
Well, I'll put a
really
dark
creepy.
I'll put a dark spin on that. I've met two girls. I've dated two girls that said that they had a dark mass appear in their room that terrified them, and they later found out that they were sexually abused.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
that's some weird stuff. Here,
I came to
here's
the conclusion that maybe that's what they put it. That's how they interpreted it to get away from the reality of what was happening to them.
right. Yeah, Mid-South said he believes they are the offspring of the Nephilim. Yeah, that's right. He does. And Rico says, I hate the magic religion angle. And that's not the angle that I go about it, but I view myself in this subject as an investigator. And as an investigator, I want to receive these reports, whether they're in the area that I'm comfortable with or not, because I do file these away. Because whether we agree with these views or not, they're still out there. People do report seeing things like this. So,
well, you're like a police officer, so when a police officer arrives on the scene, he's got two different parties, and he has to be neutral. He has to take both reports, right? You approach it that way.
Well, yeah. That's the way I look at it.
Right.
Here's we already have a level of cloaking with fighters using cameras. Yeah, Mel, and I seen here, this was years ago, like about 10 years ago, the Israelis have a cloaking device that they can use on tanks out in the desert. And all
Really?
you see when they're moving is the plume of dust behind them. And it's some kind of mirror type deal, but it makes the tanks, if they were not moving and kicking up dust, you wouldn't even see them out in the desert.
Really?
So, imagine I don't know, alien or whatever, having that. So, or even our own military may have something like that. We don't know.
Yeah.
Military vets seem to see them a lot in reports. This Glimmerman thing, weird. Patty, actually, the individual that sent me the report of the cloaked, I'll use that term, figure outside of his house, he was ex-military, or is. He's still, he's not here on the chat tonight, but
then you get the reports of the black dogs in Afghanistan too, in Iraq. Those big black dogs that people saw. That's crazy too.
That's the guy that was metal detected on TikTok. So that, yeah, again, if y'all's got it helps me to see them if you put them in caps. But I just asked the guy that was metal detecting on TikTok live, he has any Bigfoot encounters. Said he was camping and had a dark figure staring down at him while he was in his hammock. Now, Cornell, that's a good reason not to sleep in a hammock, I guess.
Right.
Somebody told me recently, well, it was on one of my interviews. It might have been Brian. Was it Brian Terrell from Red Dirt Cryptid that was sleeping in a hammock with a tarp over it that had something come up at his feet or something? So I'm a Christian, but also believe in science and logic.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I very much believe in science and logic, and yes, I'm a Christian too. And I don't think we have to separate the two and start thinking the world's flat and stuff. But Sleeping in a hammock makes you a Bigfoot burrito. Yeah, it could. Hey, I like your avatar there. Is that a Bigfoot with a rifle dragging a deer? It says Bigfoot Bud.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that is a good one. So that's pretty cool. Wait a minute. Bigfoot Bud. But yeah, when I say, yeah, I generally don't approach the Bigfoot mystery from a religious standpoint. Some people do. The whole Nephilim thing, and I really think the Nephilim thing. That's I think Scott Carpenter's the one that kind of coined that, I believe. And when I asked him about if he was the first one to come up with that, he didn't say for sure, but he said, now that you mention it, he said, I might just well be. I said, well, you're the first one I ever seen try to make that correlation. But,
now, with your religious background and your knowledge of the Bible, did you challenge him, or did you just disagree?
No, neither one. I mean, it's his view, and I completely respect his right to have a view. I mean, I don't.
You should have a debate.
Well, here's the thing with debating things like that. I live in a very nice, and I mean this with all due respect and with all kindness. I don't care what another person believes these things are. Okay, I come to my thoughts on them due to evidence that I have collected or seen or whatever. I have not seen anything outside of that. If I do, I'm not going to say, you know what, I don't believe that, so I'm going to ignore it. I'm not going to do that. Now, if Scott wants to believe through his own research from his angle, which is, he'll make no bones about it, from a fundamentalist version of Christianity, that's what they are. That doesn't bother me a bit. That's his view on it, and it's not going to change anything in the deal. But
as long as it doesn't infringe on your rights, basically.
That's
an American way of looking at it.
If somebody else thinks they're Nephilim, it's not going to change anything about me. I don't understand why when people don't understand something or it scares them, that something is evil. What is up with that? Well, it's human nature. We fear what we don't understand. And really it's, boy, this get off into something else.
Yeah, this could go for another 2 hours.
Yeah, but okay. Tribalism. I'm not even going to say racism, tribalism. And I think racism, as we see it worldwide, goes back to a tribalism, back in our DNA, to a time where if somebody looked different than you, they were probably your enemy. I'm talking hundreds or thousands of years ago, because you had back in the Middle East, your Egyptians, your Persians, your Canaanites, all this.
Mongolians coming into Europe.
They were always at war with each other over this and that. I think that where we're at, that for the biggest part, people getting along with each other is kind of a new thing, which is a wonderful thing, you know.
Yeah.
So,
but
yeah, here's and I grew up in the South. I'm 55, but I remember when I was a little kid, the small town I was from, there, a lot of people were pretty racist, and now, not. Most interesting, most glaring account of a hairy man is Esau. Yeah, he was, but is it? But no. But his brother was Jacob. So, I mean, did one of them get Jacob? I guess got more of his mother's DNA than his father. I don't know, but that is an interesting. I've heard that before. A lot of people have asked about the Nephilim. It's not my belief, but I do respect his work, not so much his ideas or theories. But he has a lot of videos that have actual Sasquatch in them. I'm assuming you're speaking about Scott. Yeah. Yeah. And you know, opposing views are a good thing. That leads to discussion that may lead to a better understanding in the scheme of things. Some of the things that we think we may find out is not what we thought, but that just, I love a good dialogue with somebody with an opposing view as long as they're a friendly person. You know, gets hateful, I'm through. I'm through talking to them. You know, I think of myself as a nice person, and I like to be around nice people. Even Cornell.
I'm fun to have around when you're in the middle of the woods.
Man, I'll tell you what, my son, he loved hanging out with Cornell, but yeah, I still get a kick out of it because, man, Cornell will just tell you like it is. If something scares him, he don't go, I ain't scared. He'll say, I'm not sleeping in that tent. I still remember that. He goes, I'm not getting back in that tent. He slept the rest of the night in the front seat of my pickup there.
I pulled the sleeping bag over my head so I couldn't see it if a Bigfoot came back up to the window. I was scared straight.
Yeah, it's let me see this. I think my beliefs change almost yearly from just me being out there and experiences the thing.
Me too.
And so it makes me look forward. Yeah, and you know, Mark, that's a good statement because your mind's not closed and you're not locking yourself in a box. What am I sure about when it comes to Sasquatch? It is a wonderful mystery, and there are no experts about the Sasquatch. I'll say that because if there's an expert, we'd have one in the zoo or know exactly what they were. So, yeah, I like to keep an open mind. I hear things quite a bit that doesn't fit in my paradigm, so to speak. But I still want to look at it and hear about it. I want to be an honest investigator into this thing.
Yeah, I'll look at Skinwalker Ranch and portals and stuff. There's something going on up there, and different dimensions and all that kind of stuff. I'll definitely look at that. That's very interesting. It would explain a lot why you don't.
Yeah, I don't
evidence.
The whole Skinwalker thing is something I just haven't looked into, and mainly because I look into things that are happening close to me, which is here in Oklahoma, which is mainly the Sasquatch. We got a new fella here in chat, Prepper Camper. Welcome. I don't remember you being in our chat before, but welcome. Yeah, cashew, and I'm not going to do that. And if another channel disparages me, I'm not going to talk about them. That's I'm not going to do that. And I want a positive vibe in our shows, and I think we have had that. And I think that shows a lot by the people we've attracted in chat because everybody seems to be nice folks and fun to hang out with. Good question, Tonaldo. How many Sasquatch people do you think might be in
the state in America? Probably.
Are you talking about the world and period, or just around here? As far as numbers, Tonaldo, I could not. I'm not even going to try to put a number to it. Some people do. I know. I don't think there's as many as what some think, but there has to be enough of them that there's a breeding population. My own thoughts of it, and I'm just going to say in the state of Oklahoma because that's my primary area. I think there are several small nomadic family groups.
A few hundred.
I don't think there's a few hundred in Oklahoma.
No.
No, I don't. I think there's. I hate to even try to put a number on it.
I know, me too.
But yeah, that's a wonderful question though. But I'll look at it like this: if you have, say, take the Kiamichi Mountains, several hundred square miles down there, but if you had several hundred down there in that area, hunter gatherers, which is they've got to be nomadic, there would be a lot more evidence than there are. So, but what you have, you will get sightings in a particular area, and this is from my personal experience investigating this. You will get sightings like in a certain area, several sightings. You'll find a few footprints, tree breaks, such as this, and then you'll have a period of time that we're in that exact same area. There won't be anything. So again, I think the evidence, as I see it, small family groups, highly nomadic, hunter-gatherers, and as Tonaldo called them, the Sasquatch people. Roger Patterson, in his book, his reference to them was he called them Aboriginal giants. I think that's another good. I do not believe they are a remnant of Gigantopithecus. Again, all due respect for the people that their research leads in that direction, but I like the term Sasquatch people or forest giants or whatnot. Mark, I have seen them since I was little. Okay, here's a good one. And only know what I have learned from the ones I know, so I get it. Pick your puzzle piece and be willing to learn and add to it. Excellent, Gene. Pick your puzzle piece and be willing to learn and add to it. I wouldn't have come up with that. That's really good, though. Very good.
Yeah, good. Well put.
Let's see. Here we have there's a couple I want to get to. I've said it before, Livewire has the most interesting videos of his encounters with Sasquatch. Erica, as someone who is on the ground at his place many times, I can tell you, yes, Mark had the amazing concentration of these things happening there. Some of the things happening on his place was seemingly a bit unnatural as far as phenomena and stuff that I can't explain. Gene Hudson in Upper Michigan, we have underground mines and caves all over the place. Underground lakes in some of those mines. Wow. Okay, and here's Prepper Camper, a new person to our chat here. Said, I think there's two types of Bigfoot, natural, and then you have supernatural. And this is just a guess. Okay, thank you for adding that. And now he makes his appearance. Joe Pass, this one and only Squatching Cowboy. How you doing, Joe? We've been on here like 2 hours. Where you been? Just got back from Oklahoma. Yeah, we had to have Squatching Cowboy on me and Cordell together show and get his views. I think he was up in the
yes, Cowboy. We were talking about you earlier, Cowboy, about your movie and stuff. I thought you had made a whole movie, but apparently it was just a thing for your show. What's it called? A promotion thing, video for your show. I haven't seen it yet, but the first place I saw Squatching Cowboy was also Reddit. Why is he saying shush? Should I not be saying that? I thought it was public knowledge.
What is it now? What is it?
It was Cowboy saying shush when I was talking about his movie.
Oh,
I thought it was already famous. I thought it was already public knowledge. Sorry, but I found him on Reddit too, Squatching Cowboy, which is one of the worst Bigfoot places you can actually visit. The Reddit forum, it's terrible.
Nah, I've never been there. Could Mark be living on a nexus point, or as they say, a portal? I've received I have received one report of somebody saying he believed he saw a Sasquatch step into a portal. That being said, I know exactly where he was at, and it could have very easily just disappeared into the brush. But I'm not going to try to interpret what he saw. But Prepper, again, the more extra paranormal part of it like that, and I'm using paranormal loosely because I don't know if that's really the proper term that I am looking for, but I can't offer an educated opinion on that.
Yeah, you just end up in the weeds that way.
That's, as the person said earlier, picking a puzzle piece. I have not come across that type of a piece of the puzzle yet. But yeah, that's still, people do report those things. So is the Sasquatch stepping into another reality, or are they just so incredibly evasive to us that it seems that way?
When I've been with Dave down in the Kiamichi, anything that we experienced was physical.
Yeah,
but we still don't know what it was, but it's physical.
Yeah, why have for yes, Sasquatch people, they are smart, self-conscious, and communicate between themselves. I can't blame them from staying away from humans, wouldn't you? Yeah, and I've Tonaldo, I have said in the past that if somebody pushes me into a corner about what they are, I believe they are either a type of human or very closely related to us, and they have to be smart enough to know that we're bad news. I mean, and look at it. As humans, what have we done? I mean, we're not exactly good stewards of the planet.
Right.
We tend to want to destroy things and see how much money we can get out of it. So, Squatch and Cowboy is tired. You must have been out hiking or so. But yeah, I hope you made a video you'll be putting up on your.
Oh boy, his truck might have shit the bed. Oh, that's the worst feeling.
Yeah, especially if you're out in the middle of nowhere. Cornell, when we got way back into that area, that's always my biggest fear, is to be that far from anybody and your vehicle either gets stuck or break down. And it's how far would we had to walk?
10 miles?
No, there's at the last turnoff, there is a house or so out there. But then again, I don't know who it is. It may be something like off that movie Wrong Turn, where we end up being their Sunday dinner or something.
Yeah, it wouldn't be fun. I wouldn't go in there with a used car, put it that way. Like Dave has a quality Dodge Ram, and it's all got all the bells and whistles. A beautiful truck.
Yeah, but it's not 4-wheel drive.
Oh, it's not?
No. That's why when we went deeper in there, I had, I hiked on ahead to make sure there wasn't any boggy spots.
I didn't know that. Because I had the same truck. I had an all black one, and it was 4-wheel drive. It would go over anything. But still, you had those big ditches that you had to navigate. So you would.
Yeah. So Rico Dog, is Area X legit? Yes, it is. And let me tell you about Area X. I was down there as far as a Bigfoot researcher. I was the first person to go down in there. And now there's another group called I don't know what they're called.
Oh, it's thingy.
They're actually, they're down there. They're wanting to try to kill one, and I'm not going to be a part of that.
Yeah, Kathy Strain and all those guys.
Yeah. Well, I'll put my 2 cents worth in here. I don't believe they're going to be successful. I just don't think so, and I hope not. I mean, I don't. The only reason I would ever consider shooting one of these beings is if it was trying to kill me, and I've got a very sneaky feeling that if it meant ill will toward me, I wouldn't see it coming.
Right.
Because these things, the way they move in the woods and stuff, I mean, it's uncanny. But yes, Area X is a real place, and I've been down there, and it's extremely remote. I believe Livewire lived in a traveled corridor, and Flat Rock, I think so too, because just to the north of Livewire's property, you get in foothills and up into the Kiamichi Mountains. You go south, and you're down into northeast Texas, which there's a lot of sightings there as well. So yeah, I think so. Here is Strangeland. Kerry Arnold saw was like a man. Tonight he was on with Chris Reinhardt. He spoke to Sasquatch as a creature to be in creating a. Hold on. And he spoke of Sasquatch as a creature. To me, it's creating a mind picture as a monster-like creature from the Black Lagoon.
I'm going out with Chris Reinhardt in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
So he saw.
I don't know. Where's Chris Reinhardt from?
Connecticut. He's like an hour away from
me. Yeah. You met up with him once, didn't you?
Yeah, that was him once. We brought the RF meter and stuff, and it went crazy. And I don't know how to interpret it, but he was convinced that it was Sasquatch activity.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
You can't get a pic. Can't get a picture. How are you going to kill one? Good point, Patty.
Right.
And again, okay, riddle me this. Okay. Say somebody with more firepower than brains does get one and kill one. And it turns out they do DNA, and this thing is a human. That makes that person a murderer.
Yep.
And I'm not willing to take that chance. I don't even kill regular animals, unless I'm going to eat it. And I've got no intention of eating a Sasquatch, so I'm not going to try to kill one.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just me saying creature puts a different light on Sasquatch. Okay. Yeah, Nawak. Yeah, here we go into a different deal entirely. Is there a connection between Sasquatch people and UFOs? What do you guys think? What you're talking about is a gentleman up in Pennsylvania named Stan Gordon, and talk about in Old Guard on Sasquatch research. He's been looking into Sasquatch in the Pennsylvania area since the 1960s, and he is still active. And I've got a couple of his books, and this man actually puts his phone number in his books if you got something to report. And they had a rash back in the late 60s, early 70s of sightings of Bigfoot and UFOs at the same time in Pennsylvania. And it wasn't just one or two people seeing it. These were people, like a plethora of these things, and Stan documented these sightings. Now, here's the question: is the Sasquatch related to the UFOs up there, or was it a coincidence that they just happened to be in the same area? I don't know, but there were loads and loads of reports of that. And again, I'm going to fall back on I've never seen evidence of that myself, but that up in Pennsylvania, that was a big deal. Let's see. Jerry's research.
Interesting.
We're talking about I believe they take humans, they can take forest people. Heck, they take animals as well. I think you're talking about UFOs. Yeah, here's my friend David Perkins. He's 2 hours late. I just about missed it. Yeah, he just about did, but glad you showed up. Here's Mid-South, go to very remote locations where no humans go regularly, not even hunters. I get permission to go on private property and nature preserves, so I get a lot of activity. Yeah, you do go out a lot, Mark. For
Mark
sure.
might be a good guest.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blue-Eyed Northern. Yeah, I want to go out with Chris Reinhardt again. He's asking me to go down to Connecticut, and I'm down to go down there again. Probably not next week, but the week after. I want to actually see that interview you did with Kerry. He's a good guy.
Let's see. Cuttlefish can morph and shapeshift and also change multicolors like a chameleon. Could Bigfoot have some type of DNA like this with his fur? That would. Yeah, you're right about the cuttlefish and other sea creatures, but that's, to my knowledge, not a mammal characteristic. I don't know about like their fur. I don't know. That's an interesting thought.
Like a polar bear where it looks white, but it's not really white. Is it just a reflection?
Right. Like a translucent hair or something. Yeah. Carrie, and I don't want to go off base to what, because Carrie Arnold has observed some strange phenomena involving the camouflage of these beings down there, where if in the right light, their skin actually looks kind of a greenish. And Carrie actually put up a picture of some type of a monkey out in the wild that through the foliage kind of puts a green tint on it as well. So,
that's just
I don't know. Self with reports of glowing eyes about bioluminescence. Yeah, I've got reports of bioluminescent bipedal figure in the woods, but it was small and hairless and like that. So it wouldn't necessarily be a Bigfoot. I think there's a lot more things out there that we don't see that are still a big mystery. Let's see. We're going to try to wrap this up pretty quick, guys, because it's getting late. And man, Cornell, thanks for coming on, man.
No, I just happened to be here, and I was going on about something else, and you showed up.
Okay. The other night, so Sunday night, we inadvertently scheduled live shows at the same time. So, and we got a lot of the same audience. So I had a bunch of them. A bunch of you guys was at my camp with me and Elijah talking, and then the notice pops up, and Cornell's got his going the same way. So tonight, Cornell's supposed to come on here, and he's got the time wrong. And it pops up, Cornell's got a public service announcement going, and I got on his, and I typed in, "Hey, we did it again."
Yes, so I just stopped my live and just deleted it. I'll do it tomorrow or something. It was like a 10-minute thing, but yeah.
Yeah.
We got it right this time.
Well, make sure I didn't. Someone gets them on film. Can't prove it. Gets them on film. We can't prove it, but they can. Roadside crosses, not one yet. What? I don't know what that is. Bigfoot is not limited by the woods. They're in our neighborhoods.
I want to believe that, but I just can't.
Well, I wish one would come to my house.
I know.
Dave, your show and Cornell, so great to answer questions and not choosing only you may like. Great show, boys. Much thanks. And Strangeland, I appreciate that. And appreciate everyone offering their thoughts on this. And don't be afraid to offer a thought that's outside the realm of what some people may think is feasible. Because I'm curious people's thoughts on it. When I make comments myself, they are from my own investigations into sightings and stuff and my own trips into the woods. And I know other folks have things that are different, and I want to hear about that too. And I appreciate it. I will always address the opposing viewpoints with respect, and I know Cornell is the same. And if I don't, bring it to my attention, because I don't want to come across any way but friendly. Here we have they both decided to wait and bring in a medical expert. It said her pros and cons about people using different drugs going into the woods to research.
Who did?
Okay. Well, I'm going to leave it with that. Learning is sharing views and values based on encounters, results, and beliefs. Absolutely. And we'll have to do this again soon. We may do, I mean, like I said earlier, I'd like for me and Cornell to do some more stuff, and I'm sure he's going to have his own interviews. I've got some. There's a lady that she has not joined in the chat, but I haven't read it. My glasses ain't on, but I just received a text back over 20 years ago. I had a just website called southernbigfoot.com, and there's a young lady that was helped me investigate several sightings and stuff there, and I'm wanting to get her on an interview and talk about working together on Bigfootville we did, and investigating
Cool.
The casino footage and all of that. So, and she's a very nice lady, very very interesting too.
Is that the girl from the TV?
One of them, yeah. Shelley's her name on Bigfootville.
Oh, cool.
And we've communicated by text and stuff here recently, but the last time I have seen her in person was about 20 years ago.
She was a journalist girl.
No. That was Cindy Bear. She was Shelley was. She shares an encounter story of hers, a Bigfoot encounter story on a part of Bigfootville. I think it's closer to the earlier part of the show. She's got kind of long red hair. If you go back and watch it, you'll see her on there.
It'd be nice to get that journalist on, wouldn't it? Could you get in touch with the journalist? That'd be good.
I honestly, Cindy, I don't know her. The only time I was ever in any contact with her was when we did Bigfootville, and Bruce, the producer, is who had contacted her. Most of the people that were interviewed on that show were people that I'd introduced the producer Bruce to. But Bruce had what he wanted. He wanted an actual journalist on there to do the journalism thing. And Cindy Bear was a news lady in Tulsa. And now the skeptic scientist guy, there was I have no idea who. I don't know him. That was somebody because Bruce wanted somebody that was a skeptic on there, and he got a hold of him through university or so. But anyway, that's a whole other discussion. All right, we could talk all night if I didn't. Guys, again, thanks for everybody that took part in the chat. Thanks for keeping it civil. That's great, and sharing different views and all. And I hope we can build on that and keep and do this again shortly. Cashew, Blue-Eyed Northern, thank you guys for your wonderful work as moderators. You are greatly appreciated. And with that, I'm going to say good night, and you guys take care.
Good night, everybody.